Art Tribe, let's make a chest and checkerboard together. Now this is a sculpted panel. All the descriptions of everything I use is going to be in the description of this video, so make sure you check it out. But the first thing we're going to do is want to tape off the back so that we have a clean back. So let's get started. We're going to be using frog tape, my favorite. All right, so give the back a wipe down in case it's a little bit dusty. You can use a towel, not your hand like I am, but taping the back is super easy. All you want to do is line it up towards the edges and tape over the little rounded corners. We're gonna cut that later. Now let's clean up our edge. I like to press the corner in so that I could see the curve of the actual panel. Now all you need is a little X-Acto knife or a box cutter. Very carefully, you can just cut the excess tape off. And once you get to the corner, just go along the panel. All right, now that we have the back of our board sealed up with masking tape, it's time to put down the main color of the board that you want. I'm gonna be making a black board with white and black squares with a red trim. Now you can use acrylic paint. Just gonna take you a little bit longer just because there are a lot of nooks and crannies in the design of this panel, but you can also use spray paint. Today I'm gonna be using the Krylon Color Max paint and primer in the color black. So let's go. Now something super important to remember is while you're spray painting these panels, you want to look at them from all four sides, from the tops, the sides, get in all the angles, because from one angle you might think you're coloring everything, but when you look at it from the other sides, you're going to miss the little lines that you're not seeing from your angle. Now for the squares and the trim border, I'm going to be using the Moss Epoxy flag system. Now I love using the medium hardener with it, but if you want a little bit more time, you could go ahead and get the slow hardener, again with your flag resin. Reason why I love this resin is because it's low viscosity, it holds really low bubbles, and it cures very quickly. You can use code Annie's Art for a 10% discount plus free shipping. So let's talk about how much resin we need to fill the squares in. I am using the biggest size panel for this chessboard that Sculpted Panel has. I believe it's a 24 by 24, maybe 26 by 26. Now each set of squares I use about 300 grams of resin. So you just mix the 300 grams, put in whatever pigments you want. Over here you'll see that I'm doing the darker kind of chromy black squares first. Something important to remember, the main thing I want you guys to remember from this, you do not want to fill those little squares all the way to the bottom, because I promise you it is going to spill all over the place and it's going to be a mess. So you kind of want to go just halfway through. Now, once you're done filling your first color, if you don't feel confident enough while pouring the second color and your first color is still wet, wait for it to completely cure, because just in case, you know, you make a little drop and it goes into the other square, you can just wipe it off with some isopropyl alcohol and it won't be a problem. Now, again, 300 grams about for each square set. For the border, I believe I use about 60 or 80 grams. I know that this looks really intimidating because that border is quite thin, guys, but just go very, very slowly. This is very sped up. If you go really slowly, you'll be totally fine. And remember, once again, you don't want to fill up that space all the way to the top. Just halfway will do. Now our next step is going to be to level this middle area up to the framing of the main board of the outside. We want that to be leveled before we do an entire top coat. Now the reason why I do this is because if we do an entire top coat, that's going to be pretty thick resin and getting the bubbles out is going to be a nightmare. So here again, I am using my flag system with a medium hardener, just adding it to the middle area just so it kind of gets level to the outside border. We're going to torch that. We're going to let this cure completely. And as you can see here, super level to the side. Now for leveling out, I used about 700 to 800 grams of resin. You could probably get away with a little bit less. So now once that cured, I did mix my tabletop, which is going to be our top coat. I wanted a really thick, nice, beautiful shine on the top. So I used about 1,000 grams for this. Once again, you can probably get away with 800. I'm just a little extra. Now, don't forget to run that resin all over the sides, nice and smooth with your gloved hand. Let it sit for a few minutes, torch. Let it sit for another few minutes, torch again. And we are set. It is nice and beautiful. Look at that shine. Now, all you got to do next is make your little chess pieces and you're set.
Now, prepping is probably the most important part of any kind of resin art because you want to do as less work as possible at the end. Now, just with a little heat gun, look at that tape coming off, and you need a very light sanding on the edges, and you're done. All right, our tribe, that's about it. So leave your questions in the comments. I'll get to all of you, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe.